Trial involving former President Donald Trump is underway up in New York City. He is charged with 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. It's part of a scheme to bury stories that he feared could hurt his 2016 campaign. Right now, joining me live from New York is NBC's Jay Gray. So, Jay, thanks for being here. We have never seen anything like this before. Now, the task is finding 12 New Yorkers who are willing to put their personal opinions aside and make a decision. How tough might that be?
Yeah, speaking with legal analysts, Jonathan, they say it's going to be difficult, but that it's very possible. They believe it's going to happen, though it could take a couple of weeks here. What we know is that this trial began with arguments over motions and potential evidence in this case. The judge in this case, Juan Marchand, ruling that the infamous Access Hollywood video about grabbing women will not be played in the courtroom, but that transcripts from that may be used by prosecutors. We also know that the former Playboy model who has accused the former president of having an affair with her will be allowed to testify, though the scope of that testimony will also be limited. And National Enquirer stories attacking political opponents of then candidate Trump will also be allowed as evidence here. So once the arguing and everything was worked through on that, which took hours, by the way, they moved to the jury selection portion of all this. 500 potential jurors at the courthouse today, 96 in that first grouping as they begin the questioning. It continues inside the courthouse right now.
Jay, you mentioned that former Playboy model, and also on the other side of this case is adult film star Stormy Daniels, who says she was paid to keep a one-night stand with the former president from going public in 2006. How likely are we to see her take the stand for the prosecution?
Oh, I think we'll definitely see Stormy Daniels on the stand here. She has talked about it. The prosecution has talked about that. And so, yeah, I think she will be a part of this trial, as will Michael Cohen, the former president's ex-attorney and fixer, who initially made those payments and was reimbursed by then-President Trump. So I think we will see both of them on the stand. And really, legally, what this comes down to, Jonathan, is was the former president paying Ms. Daniels so voters wouldn't find out about this alleged affair, which he says he did not have and says he didn't make any illegal payments? Or was that money used to make sure his family didn't find out? And that's where the legal rub is. If he was evading and hiding this from voters, that's a crime. If he was trying to avoid his family finding out, particularly his wife, that's not a crime.
And Jay, we just have a few seconds here. I do want to ask you this. It's all interesting because this is all happening likely during the presidential campaign. How might that complicate all of this?
Well, you know, it's going to take the former president and presumptive GOP nominee off the campaign trail. But as we know in trials in the past, he has used this forum as a campaigning stop. And so we do expect to hear from him. In fact, walking into the courthouse today, he talked about how this is politically motivated and saying at one point, without any evidence, I should mention, that it's being driven by current President Joe Biden.
And you will be there covering it all. Jay Gray, live for us in New York. Thank you so much.